Hey there, Roll Advantage. My name is Dakota. I'll be your DM while we go through this custom class of a Death Knight here. This is found on my Google Drive account. So if you want to use it, you're more than welcome to. You all have access, and there's going to be a link in the description. Anyway, my interpretation of a Death Knight is someone like a paladin who died in battle before their oath was able to be completed, and their tenets were bound so much into their soul and their well-being that they came back to finish their goal. So, funny enough, I actually found this Death Knight class online, but I did not like the way it turned out, so I edited about maybe 85% of it, and the spell slots, the spell level, all that stuff is actually heavily influenced by the warlock, and the runes infused actually take place of its invocations instead. So this, of course, is not a full spellcaster. It's more of a Gish type build. So yeah, we'll go through it. So go down, and your hit dice is a D10. You're proficient with all armor, simple weapons, and martial weapons, of course. The saving throws are Constitution and Charisma, and you start off with 2 skills you're proficient with. You've got some equipment that you start off with, so a chainmail, a Dungeoneer's pack, or an Explorer's pack. You've also got a 2-handed martial melee weapon, or a 2 one-handed martial melee weapons. You have the Rune Inscribe feature. So the entire Death Knight thing is all about runes, and so you can carve them into items, and you can carve as many as that you want. It only takes an hour and 50 gold worth of silver, but you can carve as many as you want, but infusing them with energy is actually what limits you. So at level 1, you can only infuse one of your runes with power, and so you can do it into a weapon or a set of armor or anything really. To infuse it with power, it takes an hour, which you can actually do during a short rest as long as you are touching the item. Additionally, if you have a long rest, all of your runes are filled with power, limited by the number of runes that you can have infused at one time, which relates back to the chart, that table up there. Once it is filled with power, you can use that rune to cast spell-like abilities, which would deplete it, if it does deplete. And in addition, any weapon that is filled with power from a rune counts as a magic weapon for the purposes of overcoming resistance to non-magical attacks. So that rune has to be infused with power. It cannot be depleted. So that would be an easy way to get a magical weapon, but it's also resource management. Also at level 1 you have Rune Magic, which is pretty simple. I think I set it up as a half caster. If not, then it's a 1/3 caster. Pretty sure it is a half caster though. And so at first level, you know 2 spells of your choice from the Death Knight spell list or the Paladin spell list. And you know 1 rune of your choosing from the rune list, which is way down below. You can know runes equal to half of your Death Knight level rounded up, and when you increase your Death Knight level, you are able to switch one of your runes that you currently know with another. The spell slots are based off of the warlock spell slots, and I already went over the spells known. Your spell casting ability is your charisma modifier. You also have some fighting styles. So you have defense, dueling, great weapon fighting, and 2-weapon fighting. You have death aspects, which are blood, frost, disease, and unholy, and these are pretty much archetypes of the class. You get different features based at level 7, 11, 14, and 18. Oh, and also level 3, of course. You have ability score improvements at level 4, 8, 12, 16, and 19. You have an extra attack. And at level 6, this is where stuff starts to pick up for your archetypes. So you have the Tenor of Terror. And so you have a 10-foot radius centered on you as a bonus action that you can throw up, and any hostile creature within that starts its turn or enters the radius must make a wisdom saving throw equal to your spell save DC. On a failure, that creature is frightened, so it must spend its turns trying to get away from you. And for every turn in succession that it starts its turn in your aura radius, the DC increases by 1 to save. So if a creature is trapped, it's going to get more and more and more scared of your presence. If it does succeed its wisdom saving throw, it can't be affected by this feature for 24 hours. Will of the Rune starts at level 10, and it's based off of your armor class. And so at level 10, you should have 3 runes able to be filled at one time. And your armor class is increased by 1 as long as you are wielding a weapon or armor that has been inscribed with a rune and is full of power. It does stack, so you could be wearing a full plate, a shield, and a longsword, have all of them infused, and your armor class would increase by 3. So that full plate would be sending you at a base 18, the shield would give you a +2, and then having 3 items inscribed and full of power will bump you up by another 3. So you would be at 23 then. Of course, it is resource management, so if you expend one of those full runes, then your armor class is going to decrease by 1 because you no longer have a rune that's full of power. At level 15, you have both Dreadlord and Runic Empowerment, so your radius becomes 20 feet instead of 10, and you can refill 2 runes during a short rest instead of 1. Master of Death, you pretty much go into Lichdom, and any item that has an infused rune becomes your phylactery, essentially. And you can dominate any creature that comes within 100 feet of an item that has its rune inscribed. And you're pretty much throwing your soul back into that creature, and if it fails all of its saves against it, then you dominate it, and their soul is removed from their body and yours enters it. You do take on their strength, dexterity, and constitution scores because those are physical, so you are taking their body, you're taking their physical scores. But any mental stats, such as intelligence, wisdom, and charisma, is all based off of your scores. You have different death aspects, and so really at level 3, it's all about dealing damage to a creature and what happens. So Vampiric Blood at level 3, whenever you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack, you can use a bonus action to spend one of your hit dice to regain health. You can only use this feature once per round. Level 7, for all of the aspects, is gaining resistance to things. So this one is non-magical bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. Scent of Blood is going to be, anything at level 11 is based off of your radius, gained at level 6. So within your radius, if a creature is reduced to 0 hit points, you have an advantage on your next weapon attack. 14 is just something random, I believe. It's not consistent between all of the other ones. So level 14 for the blood aspect, you can refill one of your runes by spending one of your hit dice. And at level 18, those are also based off of your radius and increasing the power from your level 11 aspect feature. So you receive half damage from any creature within your radius who deals damage to you, and that creature takes the other half of the damage. Frost, whenever you deal cold damage to a creature at level 3, their speed is reduced by 10 feet. At level 7, you gain resistance to cold damage and are unaffected by cold weather. At 11, your radius deals 1d6 cold damage to all hostile creatures that start their turn in the radius. And Whisper of Winter is whenever you score a critical hit with a weapon attack against a living creature, one of your runes becomes filled with power. So that's like a 5% chance that that's going to happen. At level 18, your bonus damage from the Frozen Fog increases to 2d6 from 1d6. So going down to disease, At level 3, which I actually really like, I think I like Disease the best out of all of them, just for like the flavor it gives off. But at level 3, whenever you do a successful melee touch or melee attack, you can spend your bonus action to infect them or cure them. If you infect them, they have to make a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC, or be poisoned for 1d4 hours. So I believe in the DMG, it talks about what happens. So you have like disadvantage on saving throws or ability checks. I can't remember. And if you try to cure someone, you're able to get rid of their poison or their disease, but you take it on instead. At level 7, you have resistance to poison damage, have advantage on poison saving throws, and are immune to diseases. For me, diseases don't really come up often in my games unless it's for being lycanthropes. Other than that, I don't really deal with them all too often. At level 11, your radius deals 1d6 poison damage to all hostile creatures. Level 14, whenever a creature within your radius takes poison damage, you gain just as much health. You can also target a creature as a bonus action within 30 feet to your contagion feature, which is at level 3. So it's cure or inflict a poison on them. And my favorite out of them all is level 18 for the disease. And so any poison damage you would receive instantly heals you. And any creature you infect with your contagion ability can have their symptoms suppressed, which takes effect within 1d4 days instead. Within that time, all humans that creature interacts with must make a Constitution saving throw or be affected by the poisoned condition for 1d4 hours. Unholy is, the the generic Death Knight. So they get the undead minion, has to be a challenge rating of 1/4 or lower. Lichborn at level 7 is you gain resistance to necrotic damage and advantage on saving throws to avoid being frightened or charmed. At level 11, your radius, with creatures that are in your radius, they have saving throws at disadvantage. And then the Archfiend's Wish at level 14, you can now create undead minions with a CR equal to or less than 2. So a little bit more powerful. And the Reaper's Infusion, you can reap the soul of a fallen creature, filling one of your runes with power. They have to be either at 0 HP unconscious or dead for no more than 1 minute. The creature instantly dies if it was not dead already. And once you have reaped a soul in this way, you must finish a short rest before you can perform a reaping again. Down below is the Death Knight rune list, and I'm not going to go through it since there's quite a bit. They act just like the invocations for the warlock. If you've taken a look at that, I believe on page 100, maybe 101 on the player's handbook. But basically these runes, they have some prerequisites just like the invocations, and they do different things such as turning your damage into poison when you're attacking with a melee weapon, or increasing your radius, or getting a spell slot back when you kill a creature. It's all different things. So you can take a look at that if you click on the link down below in the actual description. So if you enjoyed this, or if you have any problems with this, you think it's so overpowered and you want to just bitch me out, which I'm cool with, go ahead and leave a comment down below. If you enjoyed the video, give me a like. If you really like what I do, subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video.